I'm gonna miss this couch. I've interviewed everyone from Arnold Schwarzenegger to the pig Arnold Ziffel. And now, it's time. Time to conclude this chapter of my career.
Why do you think there has been so much resistance to me having you?
The party began January 3rd, 1989. And of course, my number one priority was to send you to bed 5 nights a week with a smile on your face and laughter in your heart.
The Arsenio Hall Show was a cultural phenomenon. 5 years of electric energy, A-list guests, and a crowd that felt more like a hyped-up party than a talk show audience.
Now, do you want fries with that? It's Arsenio!
But if it was so iconic, why did it suddenly disappear? Was it the fiery clash with gay rights activists?
You think I haven't had somebody on the show because they're gay? What's wrong with you, man? I'm black! I'm black, man!
Or the controversy of hosting guests like Andrew Dice Clay, whose off-the-wall jokes pushed every boundary.
I don't see too many faggots in Philly, you know? Out in L.A., Manhattan, you got them all over the place. Brooklyn, we don't have any gay people. They're all dead.
The truth is, Arsenio ruffled a lot of feathers, and the full story is wilder than you think. First up, we have one of the most unforgettable yet controversial moments in the Arsenio Hall Show's history: Magic Johnson's shocking HIV announcement. At the time, HIV was a deeply misunderstood disease.
Well, because it's really spreading quick through the black community.
And there are misconceptions in the community in general. Obviously, there are people who in the back of their mind think that this might be a homosexual relationship disease.
Exactly.
And, I'll let you go from there.
Well, first of all, I'm far from being homosexual. You already know that.
So when Magic, an NBA icon, revealed his diagnosis, it sent shockwaves through the world of sports and entertainment.
It's clear that I want everybody to understand that having the HIV virus, that I want everybody to practice safe sex, and that's using condoms and be aware of what's going on.
But behind the scenes, Arsenio wasn't sure if this was the right move. He reportedly felt that Magic didn't need to expose himself like that, especially on his show.
Yeah, that was one of those shows that I look back on and I wish I never had to do it. I remember telling him, I'll go with you, let's do it elsewhere. Go to Larry King. I didn't want to do that show. And Urban said, dog.
Why was that? Why didn't you want to do it?
You can imagine as his friend what things were like. You can imagine as his friend what life was like then.
Despite his hesitation, the moment happened, and it was groundbreaking. However, not everyone saw it as a step forward. Some networks and industry insiders felt it was too risky for late-night television and feared it could alienate advertisers and viewers. Next up, we have one of the most controversial interviews in the Arsenio Hall Show's history: the 1994 appearance of Minister Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam.
The satanic Jews that control everything and mostly everybody. If they are your enemy, then you must be somebody.
Farrakhan was a highly polarizing figure, often accused of making anti-Semitic and racist remarks. So when Arsenio gave him a platform, the backlash was immediate.
Talking about the wicked ones in the Jewish community that run America, run the government, run the world, own the banks, own the means of communication. They are my enemies.
Critics slammed Arsenio for allowing Farrakhan to share his views on mainstream television.
One of the most controversial interviews you ever had was Farrakhan.
Yes.
I mean, people were literally...
That was controversial before he came on. I mean, just the fact that it was booked. I noticed it the day it was announced, and it was kind of interesting in that sense.
The controversy was even more intense behind the scenes, as Arsenio's own producing partner, who was Jewish, was reportedly shocked by the decision.
And my producing partner was a Jewish woman, Marla Kell Brown, who actually is Olympic skater Jason Brown's mom.
Okay.
There's a little bit of information that a hip-hop journalist won't want to know. We were shocked at the attention that it got on the day the booking was announced.
But likewise, many of Arsenio's industry peers urged him to back out, with some even suggesting he should get sick on the day of the interview just to avoid the controversy.
Why do you think there has been so much resistance to me having you on the show? I've even, not just white people, I've had black people tell me, what you need to do is get sick on Wednesday.
Years later, Arsenio himself addressed the rumors that this interview played a direct role in his show's cancellation.
There was always the Hollywood rumor that Arsenio got his show canceled because he had Farrakhan on his show. You've heard this before.
Yeah, I've heard it in the barbershop many times.
Yeah.
But does that theory hold weight? After all, Farrakhan appeared on Donahue and The Barbara Walters Show without nearly the same level of controversy.
Show. As I have been invited again to Donahue, I've been invited by Barbara Walters and Forrest Sawyer, Connie Chung, and Tom Brokaw and Katie Couric and Mike Wallace. And how about Oprah and Montel?
Why booking him caused people to deal with me any differently than Barbara Walters or anybody else that interviewed him.
So maybe this criticism wasn't really about Louis Farrakhan at all, but just another excuse to push Arsenio Hall off the air. But if you thought the Louis Farrakhan controversy was intense, Arsenio's clash with LGBTQ+ activists took things to another level. In 1991, a group called Queer Nation interrupted his show to call him out.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, man. Why don't I have any gay guests on my show? Wait, I'm sorry, why don't I have any gay guests on my show? Well, there are a lot of gay guests who really don't like to talk about their preference, so we don't know whether they're gay or not.
But Arsenio wasn't having it.
This ain't Merv. You didn't think I'd run from this, did you? This ain't Johnny. I ain't gonna run from it. I'm gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, who would you like me to have on my show that's gay that maybe I haven't had? Who? I don't know Gus Van Sant, but I know Elton John. He's been here and he's rocked the house.
That response didn't sit well with everyone. Protesters argued that in a time when the LGBT+ community was fighting for visibility, especially during the AIDS crisis, Arsenio had a responsibility to feature more openly gay guests.
Huh? I'm sorry, I can't hear you, man. Why don't I have any gay guests on my show? Wait, I'm sorry, why don't I have any gay guests on my show?
But the activists still weren't convinced. And honestly, whether it was fair criticism or not, the moment turned into one of the most heated debates in late-night history. By this point, Arsenio had already proven he wasn't afraid of controversy, but nothing could have prepared him for what was revealed when Tupac Shakur sat on his couch. It all started with the infamous Poetic Justice drama.
Why you so mean? What you got to be so mean about?
Tupac recalled how, before filming his kiss scene with Janet Jackson, the director asked him to take an AIDS test. But that was just the beginning of the interview. When Arsenio brought up reports of a man who blamed Tupac's lyrics for killing a police officer, the mood in the studio shifted. The media had already started painting Tupac as the face of everything wrong with rap: violent, reckless, and dangerous. But instead of defending himself, Tupac flipped the conversation.
Somebody came to my trailer, the director of the film, John. We need you to take an AIDS test because you're going to kiss Janet. Q-Tip just kissed her. She caught a cold or something. You know what I'm saying? That's what they said. And I was like, well, am I going to really, do it to her? They said, no. I said, well, ain't no need for me to take a test. He left. The producer came in. The white guy, are you going to do it? No. You know what I'm saying? He left. Somebody else came in. So, everybody's trying to do a roundabout. My manager, my agent. So far, I was like, no, I'm not taking the test. If I'm going to get to really late with her, we could take 4 tests. If she really want to be sure.
But Arsenio wasn't done pressing him. He asked Tupac if he worried that his hardcore image, his raps about guns, crime, and poverty might hurt his success.
It's like this. The masses, the hungry people, they outweigh the rich. So as long as I appeal to the hungry and the poverty-stricken people, it's all good. I'm gonna have a job for life. It's these rich people who worried about the fooling the poor people. Everybody knows crime out there. Everybody know what type of situation we in the streets. All I'm doing is showing you and telling you. You know what I'm saying? Why get mad at the brother that bring you the news? Get mad at the person that's making it happen.
While Tupac's interview revealed the uncomfortable intersection of race, fame, and media scrutiny, the Arsenio Hall Show also played a surprising role in shaping modern politics. One of the most talked about moments in late-night television came when Bill Clinton, still a governor at the time, decided to ditch traditional campaign stops and instead perform on Arsenio's stage.
I came out here, and all the politicians always go to Hollywood to meet the movie stars and the entertainers, you know, to raise money.
At first glance, it seemed like a lighthearted moment, just a politician having fun. But in reality, this was a calculated move. Clinton's campaign was struggling to connect with black voters and young Americans, key demographics that could swing the election. By stepping onto Arsenio's stage, wearing sunglasses and playing Heartbreak Hotel on the saxophone, he instantly gained credibility as the cool candidate. It was a strategy with historical roots. John F. Kennedy's charm on television helped him defeat Richard Nixon in 1960. And Ronald Reagan, a former actor, used his Hollywood polish to appeal to voters. But Clinton's stunt took it further. He wasn't just performing well in a debate. He was literally putting on a show. Not everyone was impressed. Critics accused Arsenio of turning politics into entertainment, arguing that a late-night talk show was no place for a serious presidential candidate to campaign. Others questioned whether Clinton was using black culture for votes without making real commitments to the community.
Politics forever? Without a doubt, it changed politics forever. Remember, Clinton was in a lot of trouble that year. There were a lot of character questions. It was also a fascinating, unusual presidential race. Ross Perot was a factor in that race as well. So what was the challenge? Number one, for Bill Clinton to expand the definition of his personality when there were a lot of character questions and other questions about whether this guy from Arkansas was ready to do this. Number two, the challenge was reach out to try to get new voters.
The impact was undeniable. Clinton saw a boost in the polls, and his appearance became a blueprint for future politicians who wanted to win over pop culture audiences. Years later, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and even Joe Biden would follow similar strategies, blurring the line between politics and entertainment. While Clinton's saxophone moment won over young voters, another guest on the Arsenio Hall Show left audiences speechless for a completely different reason. Andrew Dice Clay was known for his loud, in-your-face comedy. He was offensive, banned from MTV, and constantly under fire for his jokes.
I don't see how any man could look at another guy's hairy ass and want to bang it, you know? They're not from this planet, they're from Tron, come on.
But when he sat down with Arsenio, no one expected what happened next.
Andrew Clay, no, let me get this straight. And everybody watching and everybody in the studio should hear it. Andrew Clay is a guy that came out here about 10 years ago. And he broke his ass. You know what I mean? Broke his ass, he believed in himself, became the hottest comic in the world.
The tough guy act was gone. In that moment, he wasn't the bad boy of comedy. He was just a guy who fought hard for his career and wanted people to see the real him. But fans had mixed reactions. Some sympathized with his struggle, seeing it as a rare glimpse behind the character. Others saw it as an attempt to gain sympathy while continuing to profit from offensive material. Next up, we have Sinead O'Connor was never afraid to take a stand, and in 1990, she made headlines when she refused to perform at a New Jersey concert unless they skipped playing the Star-Spangled Banner.
I don't have any problem with America or with American people, and it's simply a lie for anybody to say that I do. If I did, I wouldn't live in this country, and I'd hardly even be sitting here speaking to anybody. But the fact is that I don't agree with segregation of any kind, whether it's in music or whether it's to do with nationalism or patriotism of any kind. I believe in having a sense of pride in your country and where you're from, but I believe in the human race. I don't believe in sections of it or, you know, sections of music. I believe in art, you know what I mean? I don't believe in segregation of any kind. So, basically, I went to the American Music Awards because I wanted to see whether anybody would have the guts to say anything. You know, like how tragic it is that the war is on, and nobody did. So that's when I decided that, you know, I didn't want to be part of the whole thing.
This wasn't just a random protest. It was about artistic freedom and her views on American policies. The venue had a strict policy of playing the anthem before every show, but they gave in to avoid a last-minute cancellation. She doubled down on her stance during her Grammy acceptance speech that year, making it clear that she wasn't backing down.
Until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned.
Even Arsenio Hall had to ask her about it when she appeared on his show. He tried to get to the bottom of why she rejected award shows and refused to follow industry traditions.
It's not just the Grammys that I pulled out of the English awards as well, the English equivalent. The reason that I wanted to pull out was because I believe very much that the music industry as a whole operates mainly, it's concerned mainly with material success, and a lot of artists I think, are responsible for encouraging the belief among people that material success will make them happy. And I think one of the ways that the industry encourages commercial success and materiality is by having award ceremonies which very much honour those who have achieved material success rather than people who've told the truth or who've done anything to pass information to people or to inspire people or to, you know, just be truthful about anything.
To her, the music industry was more about selling records than honoring truth tellers. And she wasn't wrong. Even during charity events like We Are the World and Live Aid, record labels used those moments for profit, pushing their artists as part of the movement while making money off their work. Sinead kept reminding people, her fight was against greed, hypocrisy, and censorship. Love her or hate her, she refused to be silenced. But if you thought industry secrets couldn't get any worse, buckle up, because this next one is legendary. Milli Vanilli went from worldwide superstardom to public disgrace almost overnight when it was revealed that they didn't actually sing on their own records. After winning the Grammy for Best New Artist in 1990, their career crumbled when it was exposed that their hit songs were performed by session singers, while they only provided the looks and the dance moves. The fallout was immediate. Their Grammy was revoked, lawsuits piled up, and fans felt betrayed. But instead of disappearing, the duo tried to make things right. Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan sat down with Arsenio Hall in an attempt to clear their names and prove they could actually sing. What happened next only made things worse.
What I don't understand is, and you sing lead on the thing I was listening to. What I don't understand is, why didn't you sing in the first place, man? You can sing.
Needless to say, things got awkward fast. From the start, their explanation was messy, and they played the blame card.
What happened is we got a recording contract which was saying that we're supposed to record an album with different options. And we signed the contract, and after that they came back to us and said, look, it's going to be different now. But we already received advance, and we signed the contract with our legal advisor, and I was French signing a contract written in German.
The problem was we were singers in Germany, but we didn't speak English. So our dream was always to sing on a record in English, but we were, of course, had handicaps. But from the start, we signed a record deal that said we're allowed to sing and we're allowed to perform, but the producer didn't want to spend time and money for letting us do the job by ourselves.
Their attempt to shift the blame to the industry only made them look weak in the eyes of the public. And then came the part where they exposed their so-called friends. Before the scandal, they had an entourage of people riding their wave of success. After the truth came out, those same people vanished.
Amazing. It was like a miracle. It was really amazing. The first week, everybody, after the scandal, everybody phoned and said, oh yeah, you guys gonna make it again. The second week, from 10 phone calls, 2 phone calls. The next week, it was over for a while.
But what really sealed their fate was their response to fans demanding refunds for their albums. Instead of showing true remorse, they downplayed the backlash.
I think they were right. You know, they could do what they want. But I hear that just really 20 people gave the record back anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Not exactly the heartfelt apology people were expecting. But as if that wasn't bad enough, they also called out their label, Arista Records, for abandoning them.
Why 20 million records for Arista Records, and they couldn't even call us on the phone and letting us know, Rob and Fab, take your bags. There are 20 camera crews out there who hunt you down. Leave the country.
And just like that, their last shot at redemption crumbled. Instead of proving they were talented artists who deserved a second chance, they came off as bitter, desperate, and unprepared for the consequences of their actions. The interview didn't just fail to repair their image, it cemented their place as one of the biggest scandals in music history. Moving on, let's talk about Vanilla Ice. The day after winning 2 American Music Awards in 1990, Vanilla Ice sat down with Arsenio Hall to address the backlash surrounding his rise in hip-hop.
I hear last night you made a statement that they had to bleep out, at least on the West Coast, and the statement was, those that tried to hold the Iceman down can kiss my white A-double-S.
Yep.
Of course, you said the word and everything.
Oh, yeah, I said it.
Now you get a little time to expound on that.
Well, I just basically said it because, you know, the people who said I never could make it, that I would never amount to SHI, you know, the rest, and you know, that never, you know, said, you know, white boy can't make it in rap music. I, you know, kiss my white, you know, the rest. Like, you know, it's like, ha, right in your face, you know.
So this is a white rapper being suppressed kind of revenge.
Critics questioned his authenticity, accused him of fabricating his past, and even challenged his place in the rap game. And Vanilla Ice, he wasn't holding back.
After you.
Well, you know, there's always going to be a bad apple in the bunch. Ever since my record went #1, everybody's got it, you know, I'm a prime suspect to be picked on. And they're picking on me. I mean, that's all there is to it. I had to, you know, pull my pants down on.
You didn't have to.
I had to prove that I'm not a liar for something I'm not even proud about, getting stabbed. I did get stabbed 5 times, I almost died. Something I'm not proud about. I am from the streets, and if you can't see that I'm from the streets, then you're blind.
But things got heated when Arsenio confronted him about MC Hammer.
There's no battle, we're still friends as far as I'm concerned. I have never said anything bad about Hammer, and I don't think
that's not true. I have an audio tape of you talking about Hammer.
What did I say bad about him?
You said a lot of things, but you talked about opening for Hammer, but you getting more screams and applause.
Is that saying anything bad about Hammer? No. That ain't saying nothing about it.
How about you being sexier than Hammer, you dancing
better
than Hammer?
I never said that.
So the press, once again, is twisting things that you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Despite Ice's attempts to clear the air, hip-hop wasn't ready to let him off the hook. Up next, we have Ice-T's song Cop Killer, which sparked major controversy. At the time, Arsenio Hall gave him the chance to defend himself.
Now, all this controversy around me, you know, doing a prejudice type record where I just prejudge every cop, that's wrong. The song has nothing to do with this. The song was totally about a guy who lost it behind what he saw as police brutality, not from the Rodney King incident. He's been seeing it all his life. And he lost his mind, and he went out there on a rampage. And I've seen movies about nurse killers, student killers, mother killers. And then all of a sudden we do this one about the cop killer, and maybe I must have touched a nerve.
Ice-T clarified that Body Count wasn't a rap group, but a hardcore metal band made up of childhood friends. He explained that the song wasn't an attack on all police, but a story about someone pushed over the edge by police brutality, something he'd seen in movies with other themes. But this time, it struck a nerve. Ice-T also revealed he got threats after releasing the song.
I've been getting death threats ever since I've been rapping. You know what I'm saying? And when you take a step like this and you put me on here, the reason they don't want me on here is because I can talk and I'm gonna let you know what all this hubbub is not really about.
When asked if he worried about people taking his lyrics too far, Ice-T argued that unstable people will always find something to act on, whether it's music, movies, or even dinner forks. He also pointed out that most rap consumers were white teenagers, making his music a target for political outrage. Despite the backlash, Ice-T stood firm. He wasn't going to live as a coward. Finally, we have Suge Knight sit down with Arsenio Hall. In the interview, Suge pulled back the curtain on what he called modern-day slavery in the music business.
So, in the reality, it's more slavery now than ever.
Ouch. Let me ask you, not quite slavery, but I understand what you mean.
When you're a slave, you knew it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you was a slave, you like, it's bad. But it's worse when somebody make you be a celebrity and put you on a status and you thanking a person for like stabbing you in the back.
One of the first bombshells he dropped was about the DOC, a rapper who lost his voice in a car accident.
It was a guy named the DOC, and he had an accident where he lost his voice. And every person abandoned him. You know, I took what I had to help him, and I said, you still have your publishing. Come to find out, Jerry Heller and Easy bought his publishing for him for a watch and a gold chain. Then come to find out, Dr. Dre was getting 2 points off of anything he get. That means 2 pennies. Out those 2 pennies, one went to Yellow, one went to him. So if you sold 100 million records and you only get a penny a record, you will never get rich.
But Suge didn't stop there. He went on to expose how the exploitation of artists had only gotten worse. He called out Interscope Records directly, stating that both The Game and Kendrick Lamar had some of the worst contracts in the industry.
Company fault, but what people don't realize is that if you on Universal, it's the ship. Then Interscope get their cut. Then Aftermath get their cut. Then G-Unit get their cut. Then the guy who really has game
At some point
signed,
you will get to my penny.
Yeah, same time you get game signed, it was a guy named, another production company. Then it came to Game. Then it was Kendrick Lamar, is the guy who put the deal together.
He called it 12 Years a Rapper, twisting the title of the Oscar-winning film 12 Years a Slave to emphasize just how bad things were. This was a line that visibly made Arsenio uncomfortable. It wasn't just a hot take. It was a statement that put the entire music industry on trial. And by airing it, Arsenio's show was now associated with some of the most damning accusations against the people running the business. In any case, despite all the groundbreaking moments, the Arsenio Hall Show was officially canceled in 1994.
I'm gonna miss this couch. I've interviewed everyone from Arnold Schwarzenegger to the pig Arnold Ziffel. And now, it's time. Time to conclude this chapter of my career. The party began January 3rd, 1989, and of course, my #1 priority was to send you to bed 5 nights a week with a smile on your face and laughter in your heart.
Some say it was simply low ratings. Others believe he was pushed out by an industry that didn't want his platform giving a voice to controversial figures.
I wanted to diversify. I wanted to, I wasn't the guy that was supposed to do it straight through. I was supposed to go away and have other experiences.
At the end of the day, Arsenio didn't just host a talk show. He changed the game. He gave a platform to voices mainstream TV ignored, brought unfiltered energy to late night, and made history in the process. But did his willingness to shake things up ultimately seal his fate? Was he pushed out for challenging the wrong people, or was it just the brutal nature of showbiz? One thing's for sure, Hollywood may have moved on, but the Arsenio Hall Show left a mark that can't be erased. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.